Yes? Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, look at here. You can see a paragraph, huh? I want you to read the following paragraph, and find all P and type how many you can find letters which have P, or words which have P, letter P. Hurry up. Let me see who can do it quicker. A word that you can find letter P in it. Just type how many. Oh, Miriam, you can find 12. Okay. What with the others? Come on. Guys, you have 15 seconds. Any other ideas? Dharma 9. Good. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. So, heart. Yep. Come on. Spread. Happiness. Person. Peace. Play. Appetite. Help. So I guess there are 8. Oh, you were counting that paragraph and type as well. Okay, that's why you think it's 9. Okay, thank you. So what do you call this kind of activity at the beginning of the class? What do we call it? Just start the class with kind of activity to motivate the students. What do we call it? It's start with W.
Warm up.
Bravo. Warm up. Yes. Yes, that's it. It's warm up. So warm up activities. Can you tell me what do I mean by warm up activities? What do I mean by that? Well, why it's good to start a class with a warm up activity? Why? Have any ideas?
To activate the background of the kids, and to encourage them to respond, to react with the class, with the teacher.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Bravo. Very good. Very good. Okay. Listen to this quote by Winston Churchill. He said, "Personally, I'm always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught." What does it mean to you? I like learning. I do not always like being taught. Why? Do you have any ideas?
Because learning is not the product of teaching, actually.
Any other ideas?
sometimes the teaching method is boring or something he feels that he forced to learn something, but it's according to the way or the method of teaching.
Yes, that's it. That's it. So it's very important that we teachers think, how can we make, we prepare good atmosphere for learning. That's very, very important. That our students enjoy learning. Okay, that is very important. They don't get bored. That's the first step of learning. That I enjoy learning. I enjoy the class or the environment. Okay? So when you start the class with some kind of activities that make learning engaging and fun, the students are more willing to practice and take risks to talk. And they feel comfortable. They trust you. They like the class. Okay? So it's crucial when you are planning, always think how to start the class. How to start the class. Okay? That's why we are thinking of warm-up activities. Mhm. You can start it even with different games or songs. What other warm-up activities you can think of? Warm-up activities like when you want to start the class. Do you have any ideas how to start it?
Sometimes I shared with the kids about something personal, how I spent my weekends, and what about you? Something like to break it's like icebreaker, just to break the walls between me and the kids.
Yes, that's good. Like icebreakers. Yes,
Yeah.
break the ice. Mhm. Especially for students that out of the class they speak in another language. I mean, English is a foreign language in that place or in that country. So they want to shift to start to speak in English. So it's good to start an activity or warm up that they shift from the other language to English. Good, very good. Just talking about, okay, what have you done recently, or how was your weekend? I went somewhere, I went on a picnic, I had a very good time. What about you? So just, and also you build a rapport with your students. Good. So today I want to talk about aims and identifying and different components of lesson plan and planning an individual lesson plan or a sequence of lessons. That's your assignment too. You're going to write two lesson plans for core skills as an assignment. So we're going to discuss it today, how to plan. So number one, general talking, why it's good to plan. Why plan? Is it useful to write a lesson plan for your class?
To be brave and to not to be ready and if I'm because if didn't prepare for the class, I will be not self-confident with the content I'm gonna share. I think it's very important to plan because to show self-confidence.
Yes, and improve my self-confidence. Very good, Radha. And thank you, Sano, to avoid confusion during the lesson, during the class. Yes, yes. So it's very good for the teacher. You improve your self-confidence. And Sarima said to use the time effectively. Bravo, bravo. You don't waste time. Excellent, excellent. Good things. So we can help teachers think about the content, material, sequence, before, after. okay, and provides things, especially teaching aids, okay? Get prepared for the class, especially for unpredictable atmosphere of a classroom. When you get to the class, for example, your students are bored, okay? When you get to the class, they're bored, and say, oh, think about a game. So here's my game. I'm gonna run, or a song. Here's my audio. What else? A plan is a log of what has been taught. Okay, so you know from A to Z, what stages are you going to take? To prepare worksheet, for example. And a plan can help as substitute to smoothly take over a class when the teacher cannot teach. So sometimes it happens during the class, something happened, but you prepared different activities, or even you can give your lesson plan to your colleague. Okay, you can ask for a colleague to take the class for today. Something unexpectedly happened to me. It's like a road map. So your colleague can look at your lesson plan and go to take over the class. Okay. Also, planning, it's good, it's beneficial for students, and it makes you creative because you start to think. You start to think about different backgrounds of your students. You're not, it's almost impossible to go to all classes with one lesson plan because your students are different and they have different learning styles, they have different backgrounds, and they have different abilities. So it makes teachers more creative when you prepare different lesson plans for different classes. Now, when you want to think about planning, okay, what kind of questions or what kind of features you need to consider for planning for the class, okay? What features? Now I'm going to write a lesson plan for my next session, okay? Or for the new term that's going to start from tomorrow, for example. What features you need to consider? Like what? So you're going to the class. What features you need to take in account? Number one, who are my students? Huh? Who are my students? Okay. Do you think their age is important? How old they are? Is that important? The age of your students. Do you believe or do you think it's important? Yes. Thank you, Harmit. Oh, Sana. Thank you, Sana. Yes, it's important. Why? Why do you think the age is important? The age of your students. Why do you think it's important?
Because the level of the lesson will depend on the age of the student.
Their ability also, the
Yeah.
background knowledge. Bravo. Bravo. Thank you very much, Redba. Okay,
Come.
so who are my students? How old they are? And what about how many they are? How many are I'm going to teach to 15 students or 5 students? Okay? Because the number of activities that you need to plan for is important. Okay, how many students are in the class? What else? What else you need to consider? We have to prepare yes, appropriate material. Bravo, Sana. Bravo. That's very important. For teenagers, yes. Appropriate material for teenagers, for children, for adults, IELTS students, okay, different student. Depends on the aim of their studies. Bravo. Okay, what else? What about their background knowledge? Is that important? students' assumptions, what they know, what they don't know. Do you think it's important? Thank you, Radba. Yes, Samira. Level of the students. Bravo, bravo, Sana. Level of the student. And Sarma, the objective. Excellent. So, first of all, I should know my students. I should know about their age, students' assumptions, what they know, what don't they know, okay? Their age, okay, their ability, even their background knowledge, also even their mother tongue, if they have different mother tongue, because for some students it's difficult to pronounce some words in English as they don't have it in their mother tongue, like CH, like W. Okay, so I should consider I need to practice on these letters, how to pronounce them. Or maybe some structures are very new to them because they don't have it in their mother tongue. So that's important. And then I think about the objectives. Okay, what's the aim of this course? What's the aim of this session? Okay, what's the aim of this session? What do I need to teach to get to that aim? Bravo. What else I need to include in my lesson plan? So I know my students, I know their needs, okay? Then the aim of that session and the aim of the course. Then for teaching, okay? For teaching. So you need to take, do you need to take anything to the class to help you teach better?
Tools.
Bravo, bravo. So I said, if you remember, I said you need to take your toolbox. Yes, toolbox to the class. Like what? Tell me. Like
Maybe starting from a whiteboard, starting from the kind of materials you're gonna submit as the videos or anything gonna support your subject.
bravo.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. And plan how we can teach the top activities, prepare material. Very good, Sana. So for your online teaching, you need to prepare PowerPoint, you need slides, you need PDF of your context, you need audio track, you need pictures. Yes, you need pictures. Then different worksheets you need to prepare. Okay, what else? Sometimes you need to prepare a quiz, to assess your students. You need to take them to your class. And even different realias, for teaching vocabulary, for example. Okay, video clip. Okay, because your students have different learning styles. So we were talking about learning styles. Can you remember what are the learning styles or learning modes? What are they? Some students are, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Some of them are,
kinesthetic learners, some are auditory, some are visual learners. So we have to plan accordingly.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Some of them are visual, so they need to see some, so that's why we prepare pictures, PowerPoints, videos, realias, puppets, flashcards. Some of them are auditory, so I prepare songs or audios or different drilling activities. Some of them read write. So you prepare worksheet or context, okay, text for them. And some of them are kinesthetic. So you run games in the class or ask them for role playing, okay? So you need to prepare different activities and you need your toolbox to take to the class. So in my lesson plan, I write about teaching aids because they help me to teach better, okay? Teaching aids. What else you need to write in your lesson plan? When you want to start teaching, you write about your roadmap. Your roadmap. So you have to write about different steps in procedure part that you need to take to teach. So we were talking about pre-teaching activities, then pre-teaching activities, and then
Teaching activities. Pre-teaching
while,
and then teach.
bravo, while teaching activities and
Teaching.
post-teaching activities. So I write for pre-teaching, these are the steps. While teaching, these are the steps or stages. Post-teaching, these are the stages. Definitely, I mentioned the homework and how do I assess my students, okay? So these are the questions I'm gonna ask myself. Who are the students for this session or for this activity? Why do you want to do it? What is the aim? What will it achieve? So what happened? What is the goal of the session? How long will it take each activity? How long is it? The whole session, for example, is 60 minutes or is 90 minutes? And each activity, how long will it take? What might go wrong? Oh, okay, anticipated problems. So what if my students can't remember third part of the verb, past participle? What if, because I'm going to teach present perfect, for example, what if my students get bored? What if they won't understand the instruction? So you always think about anticipated problems. What will be needed? What do I need to take to the class? How does it work? Okay, so how do I use these materials, the steps, the stages? How will it fit in what comes before, after? So you need to write about all the stages. First, what would you do? Second, third, so all the stages. It's like a roadmap. I said your lesson plan should be very clear that you can give it to your colleagues and say, okay, something happened to me, I can't go to the class. Just follow my lesson plan. So I can take your lesson plan and go to the class and can teach. You need to mention all the steps. Is that clear now? Is it clear? Everybody, is that clear? Yes. Thank you, Radva. Good job. Very good. So, as you said, advantage of lesson planning, so makes the work regular and organized. It induces confidence. Yes, have a better confidence as a teacher in the class. It saves time and promotes learning. Okay, and you understand what are the objectives of the class, aim of the class. Yep. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Very good. Thank you. And definitely you can achieve better results. So when I want to start writing my lesson plan, who am I teaching? What am I teaching? How will I teach? And how will I know if the student understand? So you need to think about the assessment part. getting feedback, assess your students if they have learned based on the target language of the class, if they have learned everything, okay? So when you want to write, we have to know, and even sometimes you said it to your adult learners, the aim of the lesson. So we are talking about terminal objective and enabling objectives. Can you tell me what's the difference between terminal objectives and enabling objectives? What's the difference? Do you have any ideas? What's the difference between terminal objective and enabling objectives?
I think a terminal objective is the final aim, the final goal of the lesson. But enabling objectives is the small goals we are go through the lesson.
Bravo, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. So enabling objective, to get to that terminal objective, which is the final goal of the session. So students will be able to do what at the end of this session? Student will achieve what at the end of this session? You can say student will be able to talk about their daily activities. So at the end of this session, the student will learn how to talk about their daily activities. The students will be able to talk about their experiences. The students will be able to talk about their last holiday. The students will be able to talk about their future plans. So what they will achieve at the end of this session. To get to that terminal objective, which is final objective, the main goal of the session, you need to teach something to get to there, okay? For example, if the students wants to talk about their daily activity, so you need to teach them related vocabulary. Then you need to teach them grammar, simple present tense. Definitely you need to work on pronunciation, okay? Pronunciation and intonation. And maybe you need to talk about some functions, okay? So these are enabling objectives. So to get to that terminal objective, you need to teach and students need to take some steps to get there. That's enabling objectives, like teaching different aspects of the language, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, functions, okay? Or skills, speaking, working on speaking, working on speaking functions, or working on listening, working on reading, or working on writing. That's enabling, okay? Is that clear now? Then for each part, how you start your class, pre-teaching, while teaching, post-teaching, you write the stages, okay? How do you start? How do you practice? How do you get the feedback? Okay, you think about their stages. And what you need to do, what kind of activity, and you need to think about interactions. So the activity, how do you run the activity? Is it pair working? Is it group working? The whole class working or individual working? And how long each activity takes? 5 minutes, for example, 5 minutes up. Then for pre-teaching, you need 20 minutes. Then for your while teaching, which is practicing, you need 20 minutes. And then what about evaluation, feedback, the last part? Okay. So you need to think about all these main stages of your lesson plan while you are planning. Is that clear? Is that clear, everyone? Do you have any questions? Is it clear? Yes? Clear. Thank you, Radva. Oh, okay, good. So here is said, what is important to know about a student's assumption? Why should teacher know about what students know and don't know? Why is it important? the level of students is important. For example, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Why is it important?
Because it
You
according
think?
to the level of the student, I'm gonna plan my lesson so I can add suitable information for them.
Bravo, bravo. Because it's gonna be that's gonna be the base of your teaching, the base of your teaching. Sometimes you take an activity to the class, which is very difficult for students. It's much higher than the knowledge, or it is too easy. So you should know what is the base of your lesson plan. Then you start, as Rodva said, add more information. Plan should include material for each level of the students. Yes, thank you, Sana. That's good. That's a good thing. So when you want to talk about the aim, definitely you need to consider about your material. What's the aim of your course books? If you're teaching in school or institute, so you should know about the aim of the course book and also students' need. Both of them makes lesson aim. Okay, both of them. So you study about the course book and also their needs. Then both of them, it's the lesson aim. And objectives should be clear for you and also for students. Okay? And definitely, you need to think about effective instructional strategies. How to give this to the students the instruction. Instruction should be clear enough. Okay, when talking about the stages, so the instruction should be clear enough. Never forget about engaging and fun activities. So while planning, you should consider about fun activities to break the ice, okay, and your students enjoy the class. And always we get the feedback. Getting feedback is very important, not only for the students, also it's a reflection on my teaching, okay? So think about assessment, how to assess my students to check if they have learned, like concept checking questions, okay? That we were talking about in last sessions. So we talk about terminal objective. So by the end of the lesson, the students can do what? Or will be better able to write an essay, for example. Or by the end of the lesson, the students can read newspapers and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of the topic. Okay, or different aspects of the topic, pros and cons. By the end of the lesson, the students can listen to the news and take notes and give a talk about the topic. So what happened at the end of the session? Then you write about your enabling objectives. So linguistic aims, speaking, listening, fluency, connected speech, integrated skills, vocabulary, grammar, everything. And even non-linguistic aims. They have better confidence to give a talk for 5 minutes. Okay? So even you're working, you run a game in the during the session, or you have or you have different activities to improve their self-confidence, so they become more fluent. So these steps comes under enabling objectives. Okay, so for writing enabling objectives, you need in your lesson plan, you need to attach the list of the new vocabulary. So when you write vocabulary, so you have to write what new words were introduced. Okay? What are the new words? So you need to add the list of the vocabulary. When you want to write about grammar, so what grammar point you are going to teach? Pronunciation, what pronunciation you are going to practice in enabling part? What is skills? So you are going to write a lesson plan for four skills. So you write speaking, listening, reading, writing. Vocabulary, this is the list of the vocabulary. Grammar, these structures, or this structure I'm going to work. Function, making suggestion. What function? Pronunciation, working on how to pronounce CH or W or S sounds in English. Or even intonation, how to ask questions with WH, how to pronounce, or what's working on intonation on WH questions. So you need to mention it in enabling part. Even the skills, as I said. So then you get to, after that, when you write the objectives, teaching aids. So what you are going to need to prepare for your class, PowerPoint, because you are thinking about online classes. So PowerPoint, video clips, pictures, audios, or if said mini boards to show it the webcam, or ask all your students to prepare it. Even flashcards, you can show it to your webcam. Then you get to procedure. After that, you get to procedure. For procedure part, the very first thing is how to start your class. You think about a warm-up. How to start a class, you think about your warm-up. Then the leading, how to lead. You start from known to activate their background knowledge. Then you lead into the new lesson. So you think about how to start a class. Then what's my leading? The first skill is, for example, reading. How do you start the reading? Then how you practice, you write the steps. For reading, for example, you can write, I put the topic on the screen and ask about the students to talk. Or I show them a short video and said, what's this video? What is the topic of this video? What's this video about? Or I show them some pictures and I ask them to talk about these pictures. So you write about your teacher's activity and a student's activity. And do you put them in pairs, in breakouts? You put them in groups, or no, the whole class? So you have to write it. Has the interactions. And how long does it take? For 5 minutes, for 3 minutes, for 6 minutes. Then I need to pre-teach 2 of those new words. Okay, so you mentioned these 2 words. I need to pre-teach it before I ask the students to read. After that, this is the activity. I'm going to ask them these 3 general comprehension questions and ask my students to skim the text. So you mentioned these 3 questions and ask the students to skim the text. I put them in pairs or I put them in groups to skim the text for 6 minutes. You get to the while teaching activities. I monitor, I go to the breakouts, I monitor my students and check the answer. Then I ask them to scan the text and decide whether these 5 sentences, you need to mention it. 5 sentences are true or false. 7 minutes. Monitor my students and ask them some comprehension, CCQ, concept checking question, to check they understand the text and the words or the structures. Then for post, I put them in 2 groups and they start to talk about advantages and disadvantages of this invention. Depends on the reading. So they're going to be in 2 groups and 10 minutes talking. 10 minutes talking. I write their errors, then we practice on their errors or mistakes. This is post. Move on to the listening. Then you start to write the stages for the listening. Okay? Talking about this, the inventions, I ask them to listen to the audio. I'll ask them to listen to the audio and write the main points that Carolina on the audio. Carolina talks about. They have to write 5 points that Carolina talks in the audio. So I play the audio, 6 minutes. Because it's integrated skills. It follows. It follows. This is the way that you write your lesson plan, the stages. Is that a very clever? Okay, is that clear enough? Is that clear, everybody? How to write it? Clear. Thank you, Radva. What about the others? What about the others? Do you have? Yes. Very good, Sana. Good. Good. So, bravo, Sana. Sana. Excellent. So, you write about the leading pre-activity, as I said, how to run it, the activity, how to check with your students, how to recap. Okay, close the activity, post the activity, and then move on to the rest. Very good. Very good. Okay. So talking about the procedures and the material that you use. For each part, what materials do you need to use? You have to mention that one too. Now, one part is anticipated problems. To have better confidence in the class. Okay? Before going to the class, you need to think, as you know your students, you should have 2 plans or even sometimes 3 plans. This is plan A. But if my students don't understand it or can't understand it or it's difficult for them, this is plan B. For example, you're thinking about a game to run in the class. But when you run the game in the class, you see your students get confused. Okay, that's fine. I have plan B. So I prepared another game, I prepared another activity, or I prepared worksheet for them. Or they get bored. So I have a song. I have a song, related to the target language of the class. So you always have 2 or even 3 plans for your class. You need to think about the problems that may happen in the class or during the session. So we call it anticipated problem. Let me give you an example. So what's the solution? You tell me about the solution. Students might not remember the past participle of the verb. So you think I'm going to intermediate level? Today we are going to practice present perfect continuous. This is the target language of the class. Teaching present perfect continuous. But when you want to teach, the students said, they cannot remember the past participle of the verb. So what would you do? Tell me.
Review with them. Review with them the how we the present tense and the past tense and so on. Review with them the grammar. Yeah.
So you're going to review. Very good. You review with the class. Any other ideas? Thank you, Reza. Any other ideas? For example, you can put them in groups, okay? And ask them to Google it or to find it at the end of there's a list usually at the end of the book. So you can ask them to check end of the book and review it in a group also. Or Google it, find it. What about the second one? Students may not be familiar with some vocabulary like places, cities, activities. So it's talking about some festivals in India, for example, or in Mexico. It's very strange to them. Or the text is talking about some places like London Eye or Big Ben. So it's very strange for the students. They may not be familiar. What would you do? Very good, Sana. Thank you. You can prepare pictures. Very good. You can prepare pictures for your students. Okay. So this is London Eye, or this is Big Ben, or this is the name of a festival in India. Good. What were the others? Do you have any other ideas?
I think we can also write down some the meanings in the beginning of the lesson to be familiar with the vocabulary before we reading the comprehension text or something.
Yes, you need to pre-teach it. Bravo. You need to write about it, and definitely you need to explain it before asking them to read. Yes, that's right. You can even prepare, you can find a video. You can Google and write very, very short video clip, okay, and show it to them. For example, here is London. Let's look around the London for 2 minutes. Or here is Paris. Oh, that's Eiffel Tower. That's Louvre Museum. Mhm. Or talking about different festivals in India. Okay, guys, here they threw colors to each other. So that's one festival in India. So we can find short videos as well. Bravo, very good. So what about when students may not be concentrate during the class? You're teaching, but something happened today and they won't concentrate. Okay? So what you're gonna do? They won't listen to you. So you're teaching and he said, oh, come on everybody, listen, but they can't. Okay. Yes, Sana said give them a break for a few minutes. Okay, 2 minutes break. Good. What else? Rodwa said you play song. Ah, that's nice. They'll listen to the music and maybe they sing along. Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. What else? Maybe you can run a game. Game really helps. Yes. You can run a game, put them into groups and run a game. And the last one, students might get confused with the use of already and yet. So when you use already, when you use yet, they're confused. What would you do? They cannot do the worksheet. Okay? They cannot do the activity because they are confused of using already and yet. What would
We can set some examples with something interesting. We can choose that interesting subject and for them, and we can form 2 examples so they can this gonna remind them of the difference between them.
Yes, thank you, Radva. Thank you. Making interesting examples. Yes. Preparing different activities for them. Bravo. That's really good. That's really good. Good points. So I said I'll give students some worksheets where they have to fill in the blanks. Good job. Good job. So that was anticipated problems. What if this happened? Okay. What if this happened? What's my solution? What would I do? Good. Very good. Thinking about or being creative enough to take some activities to the class that make the atmosphere different, the students enjoy. So you always think, what do they enjoy? For example, if they are teenagers, what kind of activity is better you take to the class? Definitely, it should be educational activities. It's related to the target language. So for teenagers, what kind of activities it's good to take to the class? What do they like most? Do you have any ideas? Real life practice? Okay, good. Usually they like video games, yes? Video games, or what else teenagers like the most? What else? Music, yes? Celebrities, sports. You can talk, for example, you have a discussion. You wanted to practice past tense. Superheroes. Yeah, I do agree. Superheroes. So you want to practice past tense. You can ask them about matches, Olympic Games, okay, or football matches in your country. What's popular? What's a popular sport in your country? What is most popular in your country?
Football.
Football. Okay. So you can ask about the same here. Same here. Most of the people like football a lot. So we can talk about football matches. What happened? Who was your favorite, or who is your favorite football player or soccer player? What happened in last matches, for example, last weekend? So for pastors, they talk about football matches. That's something they like to talk about. Okay? So think about something they enjoy. For example, for children, what kind of activities you can take to the class for children that they like a lot to talk about or even write about?
They like games as time to climb. There is game, it's a kind of, yeah, time to climb is very useful. You can form a question, build up some questions, and the kids like it to answer it. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you can run games. You can talk about stories. They love stories. So picture stories, making stories. Talking about animations, yes, for example, Frozen or Adventurous, okay? Or unicorn cartoons. You know, I know a lot about cartoons because of my children. I know a lot. But all Disney cartoons, I know about them. So we can talk about different characters, their favorite characters, or you can run a game so they can make masks, okay, and take the role of the different character and start talking or even writing about it. Mhm. So think about how do they enjoy the class. Even for adults, you can talk about life, real life activities, talking about different events or something funny, or if they like, for example, music, you can talk about music. If they like about movies, you can talk about movies, something they enjoy. Okay, always think about something that some activities that they like it, but it should be related to the target language of the class. Okay, what is the aim of the class? It should be related to the aim. Good. So just reviewing, we always think about the objectives. At the end of the session, the assessment part, even it's a quiz or any activities that you think of, you need to test your students if they reach to the goal of the session, if they reach to the terminal objective, and reflect on your teaching as well. Okay, that is the last part of your lesson plan. And you think about so we talk about the material, the teaching point, teaching procedure, and how to manage the class, what instruction do you know. So you need to think about a relevant homework. What they learn in the class, so what about at home? How should they practice? Okay, so you know what happened? If they just learn it in the class, if they just learn it in the class and they won't practice at home, they will forget most of it. So you should assign relevant homework. for the session, and you have to mention it in your lesson plan. What is the relevant homework? So let's review from the beginning. First of all, oh, I have a giving session here. So the first thing is, what is the title? Okay, title of this lesson. The lesson is about environment, how to keep environment safe. So that's the title. What's the topic of the session? Or it's about daily life activities, or it's about extreme weather, like flood, droughts, okay? Anything. So you write the topic. So, you know, this is a lesson plan for teaching this lesson, the topic of the lesson. Then about my student, about their age, interests, their background knowledge, their needs. Okay, they are in the class to improve their speaking. They're in the class to improve their English language, the B2 level. Okay, upper intermediate. They're at B2 level. Then you mentioned your terminal objective. What's the goal of this session? The students will be able to describe different extreme weather and talk about the weather in their country. Enabling objective, here is the list of vocabulary. Here is the structure. Speaking skill, so they learn this function. Listening, this is the audio. Okay, reading, they're going through reading part of the newspaper and answering some questions, and writing. They write a paragraph about the weather, different kinds of weather in their country. So that's enabling. You need to attach the list of vocabulary, the worksheet that you prepare for the grammar part, and the reading text, or even a writing worksheet. So you have to attach everything to your lesson plan, Then you start talking, writing about procedure, how to start the class, warm up, then pre, while, post, stages, teachers' activities, students' activities, interactions, pair, group, the whole class, individual, and time. How long does it take? Each part, the time, okay? For this activity, I need 5 minutes. For this activity, I need 10 minutes. What's next? Evaluation. So how do you recap and test your students they have learned? Okay, have they learned the target language? So this is the quiz. Maybe you prepare a quiz. This is the game. Maybe you run a game to test them. So how do you evaluate your students? Also, this is the homework. So what are they going to practice at home? So you mention all in the in your lesson plan. If you want to study more, you can download this book, A Course in Teaching Language. This one is the old version, and this is the new version by Penier. You can even find it in TESOL modules. You can download it or easily download it. Google it and download it. It helps you a lot and gives you good ideas about different activities and warm-up activities. Now, I want to show you template for a lesson plan. Give me a minute. Okay. Now, give a minute that I need to stop sharing this and share the other one. Stop sharing. Okay. Let me share the template. Share content. Where is it? Just give me a minute. I'll open it. Yes, there we go. So guys, can you see it? Can you? Is that clear, everybody? Can you see it? Yes, good. So you write your name. This is by one of my students, and the date, lesson plan. So what's the title? Okay, what's the title of the lesson? You mention it. Number of students, level of the students, so B2 upper intermediate, average age, how old they are your students, because the activities that you choose is important. Is it related to their age? It's not very childish, or it's not very difficult, it's not very simple, understandable for them. Okay? And their interests, you need to write about their interests. For example, they are university students and they need to learn English. So their interests. Then you need to write about their first language. It's important because you think about their assumptions. What do they know? What they don't know? Or cultural background. So the total time is about 90 minutes. Maybe it's for 2 hours class. So it depends. And environment of practice. So it's online. For you, it's online teaching. What material do you take to the class? So I need a laptop, I need reading handouts, I need audio files, I need mini boards like this one. I always have mini boards for my classes. It's fun, especially for children. They draw something and they show it to you. Or virtual boards, okay? Virtual board. Or maybe he said I need to take emojis to the class like this one. Or I take flashcards or puppet. So you mention everything, worksheets, everything. What material do you? Then you start to talk about terminal objective. Know about the meaning and advantages of bilingualism and know more about the process of bilingualism in the world. Okay, or students will be able to discuss about pros and cons. That's terminal. Enabling objectives, so you write about the skills, okay? The skill, list of vocabulary. So look here, guys, mention all the vocabulary here. Reveals, allocate, bump up, codes, all of them, reckon, okay? Linguistic. So the new words, you have to mention it, okay? And structure, even the structure. For example, here, to get familiar with the suffix al. So what about grammar point? What about new vocabulary? Even you work on how to make WH questions, working on intonation, how to read or how to say WH questions following intonation. So everything that you are going to work on, you need to write an enabling adjective to help your students to get to terminal objectives. You start to write the procedure. The very first thing, warm up. So what's the warm up? Maybe warm up's not very related to the lesson because it just, you want to motivate your students. You want to motivate your students to start to learn, to build up rapport in the class, and they enjoy learning, they can concentrate, to start talking in English, okay? So what about warm-up activities? You write about it. Then and you have to mention the time. How long does it? 80 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Then you need to mention for any activities, what's the interaction? Is it in pair, individual, the whole class, group working? What's the interaction point? Here, it starts with the reading. It depends on your lesson. Maybe you start with the speaking. Maybe you start with the listening. So you write about pre, while, post, different stages, when to teach the new words, when to review the grammar. For example, that is the whole pattern. Okay, that's the whole pattern. Yes, Miriam, you have to, as you have it in your modules, if you check, you have to write the title, number, level, age, assumptions, background, time, terminal objectives, enabling objectives, materials. Yes, you have to mention all of them, definitely. And then you start for the procedures. You start with the warm-up, then for each skills, pre, while, post activities. Then you know when you teach that what new words or which of those new words you teach in this part, you have to mention it. You have to mention it in details, not in very, very detail, but you have to mention the procedure. It's like I said, it's like a roadmap. It's like a roadmap. Then you, after you write for post activities, then you move on. For example, he moves to the listening part. So what about the listening? How to start, how to practice, how to get the feedback. Then speaking, and then for writing. So four skills. You have to write 2 lesson plans for 4 skills. And you have to attach all the materials that you mentioned. If you ask them to read, you have to attach the reading text to your lesson plan. So you attach all the materials in one file and you send it or upload it to the site. Is that clear? Assessing, okay? How do you assess your students that they have learned? Is that clear so far?
Yes, it's clear. But I have one question. So this
Please.
plan, I have to do it every time in every lesson, for every lesson I teach?
Yes, you have to approve. Yes, definitely. Your lesson plan, it's like, as we discussed, help you how to teach better. So when I have a lesson plan, I know it. Maybe later, after a while, you just write some notes in your
Yes.
book.
Yeah.
I know that. But this is for assessment of the course. So you have to write it in very detail.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? But I know it after 5 years teaching or 6 years teaching, you take notes. You know, I've been teaching for about 20 years, okay? And working as a trainer more than 10 years. But still, I have my lesson plan. Yeah, it's not very organized. So I
Clear.
write everything. Yeah,
Yes, it's good.
need your lesson plan. Otherwise, you will forget it and you waste the time. So let me, oops, no, not this one. No. Let me share a lesson. And what about what material you want to teach? It depends on you. Okay, maybe you Google it and you find it. Maybe you choose a lesson. For example, you choose a topic. Okay, like this lesson. Okay, like this lesson. You choose a lesson and then you plan for it. Or maybe you choose a topic. Okay, you choose a topic about, you want to introduce your country, about your local dish. Yes, you have to mention homework and assessment. Yes or no? In your lesson plan, you have to mention it. Definitely. Definitely. That's very crucial. You want to introduce a local dish of your country. So what is a local dish or popular kind of food in your country? Can you name it? Like hamburger in America or spaghetti in Italy. What about Pakistan? What's the local dish, popular one?
Koshari in Egypt.
Ushari in Egypt. Oh, okay. So what about Pakistan? What's the popular dish? No idea? Biryani. Oh, okay. You have biryani, for example. Okay. For example, in Iran, is chole kebab. Okay. They love most of the people love kebab a lot. Well, that's biryani. Then the title is food in. Mhm. Then you can find kind of reading about a popular dish, find a listening, find speaking conversation in a restaurant, how to order biryani in a restaurant. That's for speaking part. And then write about how to make biryani. So that's it. You can make up the lesson yourself. You know what? You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean you always should find it from a book and then write the lesson plan. No, you can make up yourself. You can design a lesson, or you can make a course even. Yes, online course. That would be nice. Yes. So this is a lesson. So you want to think how to introduce vocabulary. So you write the procedures. How to teach the reading. You write the procedure, pre, while, post. Then what's the topic of the lesson? All about me. How to introduce students, the terminal objective. The students will learn how to talk about or how to introduce themselves. Or students will learn to write and talk about their family or different characteristics of their family or of their friends. That's terminal. To get to that terminal, to get to the terminal, that they will be able to talk about themselves or family. What is enabling objectives? Come on, you tell me. What's the enabling objectives? You need to teach them. Okay. Very good. You need to teach them vocabulary. And also, you need to teach them vocabulary, related vocabulary, and okay. And also, what is structured? What is structured? Definitely, you need to be very creative, very creative. If you copy it from somewhere, it's not you. It's not you. And you know that we call it plagiarism and it won't be accepted. Definitely, you know this. Okay, it's like cheating things. So, but you enroll in this course to learn. So it's better you write it by yourself and think about creative way of teaching. Okay, make it fun for your students. Let them enjoy. Okay, so think differently. That's why I said it's much better to think about some topics that's related, for example, to your country, or some topics that students like. Say the group is teenagers, so talking about sports, music, or the group are children, so talking about animations, or adults, so talking about customs of your country or food of your country. So just try to be very creative in planning the activities, not copying, definitely. So guys, it's your turn to ask me questions. Are there any questions? We still have 10 minutes. So come on, ask me your questions. Do you have any questions for your assignment?
Is there will be demo for us, so gonna be a specific date for us to show
Yes.
some of our work?
Yes, there is a demo. There is a demo at the end of the course. So no worries. They will send you an email for the date. Yes, you're going to teach. So they ask you to write a lesson plan and teach that part. Yes. But for now, you have to write 2 conversation lesson plans and 2 core skills lesson plan. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
And you need to be as creative as you can. Okay? Just be very creative. Find things. How long have you been teaching? All of you are teachers. How long have you been teaching? Sammy, you said, can you share marking criteria? It's much better you ask TESOL Canada. So I don't have it to share it right now for you. So you just email to them and they're going to send you. And you can find it on your modules, I guess. You can find it on the site. But otherwise, just send an email. I don't have it right now to share it with you. 3 years. Okay, back to your experience. Back to your experience. So you can make a plan, huh? You can make a plan and you can make material. Okay, authentic material. So you can find for reading, you can you can choose a text from a storybook, but it should be related to the target language, to terminal objective. For speaking, you can find a conversation related to the topic. For listening, you can Google it and find an audio part. Then make a worksheet. Huh? Make a worksheet, make some questions, fill in the blanks. So definitely you're going to add general comprehension questions, then detailed, okay? Like fill in the blanks, you give them a box and ask them to fill in the blanks. Then you ask them some questions. And after all, for post, they talk about their experiences or the part that they like or they don't like it and talk about it. You can put them in pairs and talk about the topic or write a paragraph about their experiences or about their idea. Mhm. Or what's your, if it's about, the title is about food, what's your favorite food? What are the ingredients? Like guided writing. You remember we talked about all of them in writing sessions. Okay? So anything
Yes.
else?
Yes,
Yes.
I have one question. Can I attach everything in the Word document? So if the
Yes,
audio
you
or
can.
video or PowerPoint,
Yes,
every
you can. Yes, you
okay,
can attach it. So when you email it, just push attach. There's a mark over there, attach.
yeah,
Then you attach all the files. Yes.
okay, okay, thank you.
And if it is heavy to attach all of them to one email, there's a WeTransfer. WeTransfer. So you can use WeTransfer and attach all the documents. But don't send it in different emails, just in one. Okay? Attach
Okay,
all the files and then send it. You need to attach the list of vocabulary worksheet that you need to prepare for the grammar part or maybe the reading part or writing. Then audio, you're going to use it for listening or speaking. Okay. Then the quiz, the evaluation, how to assess your students. Even if you want to show the video clip, you can send them the link or attach the video, attach the audio. If you want to use, for example, puppets, take a picture, attach it, or different pictures, attach the pictures, everything. It's like a roadmap. So everything should be attached to your lesson plan. Don't forget about the timing for each activity. How long does it take? Okay, or how much time you allocate. Any other questions? You're welcome, Rosba. What about the others? Do you have any other questions? So is it clear how to write a lesson plan? No, Ghazal. Good. Is it clear for you how to write a lesson plan? Yes, very good. Very good. I'm so happy to hear that. Very good. Okay, excellent. Mariam, Ghazal, okay. So when is the due date? I forgot it. I checked it, but I forgot that. When is the due date? When you have to send your or email your assignments? You're welcome, Ghazal. Do you know when is the due date? No. Okay, check it.
Not mentioned. Yeah, not mentioned. Yeah, not
It's
mentioned
not
in
mentioned.
the.
But
No.
I guess you have to send it either this week or next. Okay. So it's much better. Now you have the idea, so it's much better you do the assignment sooner, don't you think?
Yes.
But
Yes.
think about
You're right.
our online classes, okay? Online classes, okay? How do you teach this assignment in your online classes? That's very, because nowadays, by the way, do you teach in the school? I mean, face to face or online? Right now, you are a teacher, so you go, I mean, to on-site, face-to-face classes. Oh, okay. We were teaching online, but now on-site. Okay. So you have ideas how to teach online. But you know what? Maybe you live in Pakistan, but you teach to someone in Canada or in China or in Germany. Okay? So think about online sessions. How to plan for online. Oh, some of you were teaching right away. They were teaching online. That's great. That's great. So think about online sessions. How to teach speaking. What kind of activities you can have in the class. Think about different apps. Apps that you can use. Okay, I know you're teaching right now. You're teaching on site, but just thinking about teaching to people or to students out of your city, out of your even out of the country or in other cities online. So think about apps, what apps you can use. Okay. You are going to have a session, by the way, that how to use MOOC and different apps, or how to prepare PowerPoints. You will have a session. You will have a session. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. And yes, I said it the other days. Printers. Yes, you can find very good worksheets on that app. Do you remember? I sent it last session that we have together. Yes, I introduced. That's fine. You can even Google it, Sana. You can even Google it for different apps. You can even Google that, give you ideas.